Hi, hi everyone. Um, I am very excited to be able to have a conversation with my dear friend Alex Calvert, who is currently in the Amazon River Basin. He's there on a trip with Amazon Watch, which is a nonprofit organization that is dedicated to preserving the Amazon natural environment in partnership with indigenous groups, with the very clear directive that it is the indigenous people of the Amazon basin who are best equipped to preserve the natural environment of the Amazon. As most of you probably know, the Amazon is has often been referred to as the lungs of our planet. A huge portion of the oxygen we breathe and the carbon dioxide that is extracted from the atmosphere all happens in the Amazon. It is its own ecosystem which affects the climate and weather patterns all around the world. And the Amazon River Basin has been under attack by logging and mining and oil and natural gas interests for the last 50 years. It is one of the world's most precious natural resources and absolutely needs to be preserved. I was going to be on this trip that Alex is on, but unfortunately I had to pull out for logistic reasons at the last minute. And so sadly, Alex is there alone, and it's sad for two reasons. One, of course, he misses me terribly and wishes that I could be there with him. And two, um, I'm just jealous. I just wish I could be there with him. I am going to try to invite Amazon Watch to join.
The web for I am.
And see if this works. Okay. Hey! Isn't this
Misha!
so amazing that we can do this?
I mean, thank you, technology.
That's so amazing.
Hola,
Um,
how are you?
I'm great.
Yeah,
How are you? I mean, I'm sad that I'm not there with you right now, but I'm great. Um, what an amazing thing that we are able to talk to each other with you
across the world.
sitting next to the Amazon River in
Yeah,
Brazil.
uh,
That's amazing.
it's definitely something. Um, yeah, very cool. How are you
I'm
doing?
pretty good. Um, we uh, we wanted to find out about we. I guess that's the royal me, the
Yeah,
royal
sure.
we. We the 5,300 people on this stream would like to know what the hell you're doing down there.
Um, you and therefore me, uh, was invited by Amazon Watch, and we got the opportunity to come here to Brazil and really get an opportunity to interact with not only the beauty and the nature of this place, indigenous culture, but getting to meet people and see this beautiful place and what's at risk and is how we could lose this. So that's kind of the basis of it. And we've been having this incredible experience here. And, it's one thing to, read about something or, see a photo of it. But when you're actually here, it's
Wow,
really crazy.
that's the Amazon River behind you.
Yeah, we're in the Tapajos River Basin. Sorry for the mispronunciation. I didn't mispronounce that. But yeah, it's just been incredible, man. I'm also here with some friends. So if we want to do some intros, that would maybe be good as well.
Great. You are with um,
Priscilla Tapajoa.
Paula. Oh, thank you. Hi,
Um,
nice to meet you.
Priscilla is she's not only a photographer and a director, she's also president of the Indigenous Media Organization here. That's a collective that's sole aim is to promote Indigenous media, um, and with that, showing real life people their struggle, and yeah, she's also got these incredible photos and directs. So we're very lucky here. She's here.
Hi,
We're also able
and that's Paula Vargas with you
yes.
as
Yes,
well.
hello.
Hi,
Hi.
Brazil
Oh,
Program Director for Amazon Watch. Hi.
hello. Pleasure. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm sorry you're not with us.
Yes,
Next time, right?
so am
we're,
I.
we're sorry.
Definitely next time.
We're sorry, but we're also not sorry.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Will you tell me about what you have seen so far?
Sure. We've had the opportunity to visit the Munduruku people, and within that, we've had the chance to actually go into one of their communities. We got to meet their chief, Chief Domingo. They also did a fire ceremony for us, and yeah, the opportunity for me as a Canadian to get to come to this place and really see the culture and the customs, and just being invited in like we were a family was it was crazy, dude. Yeah, getting to see everything up close and getting the chance to actually sit down with him and community members to chat was one of the first things we did.
She's
Buffering.
still there. Uh-oh.
Uh
We lost your audio.
Can hear you
Yes,
again. Okay.
oh.
yes.
Um, so you went a little bit more into the hinterlands and met and saw Munduruku indigenous villages. What were you able to witness any of the ecological destruction that is taking place with the mining interests and other incursions into their land?
Yeah, I mean, the main thing that been reiterated throughout all of our conversations is, the potential destruction that can happen here. The hard part about all of this is that, like, it's one thing to face one issue, but then it's another thing to face 10 issues at once. So there's mining, there's illegal and legal mining. They're trying to build a railroad here. There's also illegal forestry happening. So the people here, the Miranduku and the indigenous people and traditional people that are on these lands, these are the frontline people that are really helping to protect everything. And yeah, getting to talk to those people, frontline people, was, yeah, just really hit home the importance of everything that's happening here.
And I'm sorry to say, thank you so much, Alex, for the way that you explained this experience and also the threats, because we also had the opportunity of meeting some of the political leaders of that struggle. There was a moment that we had an encounter with Alessandra Munduruku, who is right now in Brasilia delivering a letter to the Ministry of Transportation saying and announcing that civil society will leave this working group because the working group is not respecting the collective work, the dialogue, and is trying to push this project in any way, and the project that is connected to agribusiness and will pass very close to not only the Munduruku people, but all the 16 indigenous lands, bringing deforestation, more invasion, more violence. And that is one of our most important line of work, is to defend indigenous earth defenders. And we also have Priscilla here with us that maybe can also explain a little bit more of the threats that indigenous people is facing, right?
Hello, I'm trying to
Hi.
speak English. I am learning English. Yeah, I'm Priscila Tapajoara. I'm from the Tapajós people. I think it's really important, here in the Tapajós River, there are 14 different people, indigenous people. And we are they fight the river, and we are also fight to define the river and the forest, and how the Paula, yeah, Paula, eu vou falar em inglês, português agora.
And I will help the translation because
Sorry.
she's amazing. She's learning English to be able to talk to you too, guys.
Acho que é importante falar que, né, esses 14 povos que estão na margem do rio, eles estão sofrendo constantemente com essas ameaças que são do mercúrio que está no Alto Tapajós, mas que aqui no Baixo Tapajós também tem os povos que estão sendo afetados diretamente por conta da soja.
So Priscilla is explaining to us that only in this region of the Amazon, Brazilian Amazon, only in the Tapajós Basin, we have 14 indigenous peoples that are being threatened in different ways. In the upper and medium Tapajós, where we have Alessandra living and other people, we have the illegal wildcat gold mining that brings mercury and contaminations to the river, to the fish, and to their bodies. Right now here, we are seeing a very clean Tapajós where people can even bath and fish. So we don't have this threat here, but we have another one that is the soy, and like big plantations of soy and pesticides that are also contaminating the earth and the people, but also bringing violence and invasions.
E que há 20 anos a Cagil se instalou aqui e ela está destruindo os territórios indígenas daqui da região. E agora com o governo, com esse apoio do governo, que é o do governo Lula, com essa construção da Ferrogrão, esse projeto ele vai destruir não só aqui a nossa região, mas como outros territórios.
And what she's saying is that here, for instance, they have a long fight against Cargill that 20 years ago came to this region and installed themselves, impacting more than 16 people, but it goes away also far from Pará to other states. So it threatens much more people than not only the Munduruku people with their ports, with their soy, and that includes traditional people, riverine people, farmers, small farmers, bringing destruction and deforestation and threats to the Amazon forest and its peoples.
E é importante que todo mundo entenda que a nossa luta não é só para defender essa floresta de pé, no sentido de que a floresta não dá alimento, mas sim que a gente faz parte dela. Ela é um pedaço da gente e a gente é um pedaço dela.
And so she thinks it's really important to be able to share and say that we in the case, them indigenous peoples and traditional peoples from the forest, they defend the forest, not only because it brings their sustainability, their food, their water, but most importantly, because they are part of it. They're connected to it.
I think that's, oh, sorry. I was just going to say, I think that's such an important point, and it's really the mission of Amazon Watch. It's that partnership between indigenous people and the Amazon, and really recognizing that the people best equipped to actually preserve this incredible natural resource of the Amazon, which, by the way, is important to the entire world. It's not just important to the people that live there, but I mean, countless medicines, hundreds of thousands of different species that are unique to the Amazon. There are so many reasons that this incredibly diverse biological resource is so important for the whole world. But the people who are best equipped to defend the Amazon are the indigenous people that live there. And by supporting Amazon Watch and these missions, we're not just preserving the Amazon, but we're also preserving these indigenous communities, these cultures, this way of life, because the two things are symbiotic, the Amazon and the indigenous people that live there. And that relationship is required to preserve either one of them. So I mean that's part of the reason I have worked with Gishers, the people that played my scavenger hunt, to raise money for Amazon Watch for a long time now, because it is such an incredible organization that is really the most, as far as I can tell, the most effective way to help save the Amazon. I'm sorry to sort of interject here, but I just wanted to add one thing because I hadn't mentioned it in the introduction. But Alex and I are trying to raise money for Amazon Watch and for preserving the Amazon and for helping the Munduruku people and other indigenous communities in the Amazon. We're trying to raise $50,000, and I know that we are all constantly getting peppered with requests for money for various different things. And right now, so many people in the U.S. and our biggest audience is in the U.S. So many people in the U.S. are focused on the U.S. elections and the issues that are happening at home right now. But I keep on beating the drum that it is so important that we not lose track of these other things going on at the world. We're just not, we can't be myopic in our focus. We can't have tunnel vision, because if we do, the amount of damage that can happen in the Amazon over the course of just 1 or 2 years is potentially catastrophic. One major mining operation that ends up being greenlit that could have been stopped, could end up devastating an entire tributary river in the Amazon, or could end up destroying an entire tribe. So, um, it is pressing and it is urgent, and that's why Alex and I wanted to go on this trip. Alex actually ended up, stealing all the thunder and going on the trip without me, but it is pressing and it is important. So I just want to encourage people who are watching, to please donate. It doesn't have to be a ton of money, but donate what you can, because this is a natural resource that the entire world depends on, and that these communities will perish if those of us from the outside don't figure out ways to support them in keeping their homeland. Okay, I'm sorry for my tirade there. Um, can I ask another question though?
Please.
What adventures have you had? What brushes with death have occurred? Because certainly
You know
there
what?
must be some in the
Uh,
Amazon.
yeah. When I told people that I was coming here, specifically, my mom was like, "Are you sure?" Um, no, we've really. I feel like we've been really lucky so far. The only thing that happened was, so the first night that we arrived for the fire ceremony at the Munduruku community, one of the warriors was leading us up to their community, and me, I'm like, oh, it's great, having a nice time, and he just stops on a dot and looks down and points out this snake to us. Small snake, you think not a big deal, right? Not an anaconda, nothing that could choke me out. Turns out it's very venomous, and I probably would have done what I'd call a gringo step right on it.
There
Yeah.
was a night in the forest as well, right? In the
Well,
Lona
yeah.
forest in
So,
Tapajós.
I mean, one of the absolute highlights for me too was we spent a night in the forest. That day, we were able to visit and walk through the forest. And what you were saying about, it's not just indigenous people. It's not just the people of Brazil and the surrounding countries. It really is the world. 20% of the world's fresh water runs through here. So walking through this forest, we got to see trees that were 200, 400, 1,000 years old, like trees that will live longer than you and I will ever be alive. And that's what people are fighting for, right? Is this longevity for their kids, for their kids' kids. So, anyways, we're in the jungle, and we are staying the night outdoors in hammocks, and jaguars around us, howler monkeys. What else?
And macaws and tapirs.
A lot of snakes, scorpions.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that
It
was
sounds very relaxing.
honestly, I had a great sleep. Yeah,
And the moments to be able to dive and have this bath in fresh waters they gotta play in the middle of the forest is really beautiful as well, right?
hmm
And it's sad, like we walk some miles, a few miles, and then in the middle of the forest we have what they call igarapé. They're like little pools, and the difference is that the water here is really clear, and the bottom is sand. It's not a traditional river you were accustomed to see. And when Alessandra was with us, and that she told us that unfortunately in her communities, instead of a clear, transparent water that looks like as if you were, seems you are in, I don't know, Martinique, the Caribbean.
yeah,
In her case, it's like milky because of the contamination and because
Wow.
of the soil. And that is like the sad part of it, right? Understanding that it was all like this, and they had access to fresh water to cook, to eat, and drink.
and what I was gonna say too is you think about like, oh, maybe it's 10, 20 years. Like, no, these things happen very fast. She was telling us about her community. I don't want to, too much of the story, but because of the mercury, the women in the tribe were afraid to get pregnant because they were concerned that their babies would not live. So people were dying, and that's how pressing and important the water is. When she showed us a video of the water, you can see the first part of it's kind of clear, but right away it becomes dark and muddy. Yeah, water is
Yeah.
life here, and
Yeah.
yeah, it was really inspiring to hear from her, and just
Yeah.
tragic, really.
Yeah. That mercury is primarily from uh,
For mining.
illegal
Legal,
gold mining, and the
exactly.
and that mercury not only totally to dangerous and toxic levels contaminates the waterways in the Amazon River basin, but it also then percolates out into the oceans, into the fish that wind up in American grocery stores. That's why there's so many fish that you're not supposed to eat more than once a week or whatever. It's because there's high mercury content, and that mercury content, a lot of it is actually coming from the Amazon basin and these illegal gold mining operations, which is yet another thing that Amazon Watch is fighting to stamp out.
Yeah. Interesting on that note. So Priscilla is a filmmaker, and when she was going to film, she was stopped by 10 miners, and they were being very aggressive and hostile towards her. And me and my friend were asking her, like, "Oh my God, like, what did you do?" And you talked to them, and then what did you ask them, the miners?
Mhm. I asked the why they work with mining, and I asked it also if the river is died, how they keep it living, because they come fishing, they come swim, and here in the Tapajós River, we the river is really important to us, and if we are indigenous or not, the river is really important. And I was talking about that, and I could to live with life.
She didn't get killed.
Right.
Yeah.
You could leave with your life.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Got it.
Yeah.
Um,
So
well, uh, is there anything else that you all would like to add before we say goodbye?
I would like to ask a question to Alex. How was your, like, how you felt? How was your feeling towards meeting someone as Alessandra?
um, it was, yeah, very, very, very inspiring. If you read about Alessandra, she talks about her turn towards activism, towards, her having children and supporting her community, but getting to, meet her in the flesh and not just, read about this person. You just see her being so strong and so resilient, not only, not even for herself, right? It's everything she's doing is for the community and for her people. Um, it did help that her son also happened to be a Sobernatural fan, so that was cool. So that was nice to talk to him. But yeah, uh, Alessandra is just such an embodiment of the people and their struggle, and what Amazon Watch does and where this funding goes is directly to people like that. So it's not some bullshit thing where like the money doesn't get to the people. It really is going to people that are defending the Amazon, the rainforest, the water, the way of life. Um, yeah, it's simple and as weird as that. It's that.
And I think you could tell how do you feel like meet my grandfather yesterday, and listen he why, like, because he's told it to him, my grandfather, like before the river was very clean, and now, yeah, you can see the river now. You look it, it's look clean, but it's not clean. Now the river is different, and the all Tapajós River it's contaminated, and if the people live in the city, in the Santarém, the water it's contaminated because of the mining, and also because of the soya. And yesterday he's met my grandfather, and my grandfather tell he the history and tell him the past and the now.
So just quickly, her grandfather was a fisherman, and this man has spent his entire life on the river and fishing and supporting himself and his family through this. Um, so he was just saying how even within 10, 20 years, it's gone from this lifestyle for all these people being sustainable to it being completely eradicated. So to hear from him, he also had a lot of great stories, which I'd love to talk about more. But yeah, the death of a lifestyle and sustainability, and only within a decade. It's not a long time.
Yeah,
So getting to hear
it all
from him,
happened so fast.
yeah, it was really special and just really hit home how pressing all this is. And yeah, it made me very thankful to be here and to be a part of this and have these conversations with these leaders and people on the front line here. It's honestly been pretty life changing. So yeah.
And
Well,
if I can
um,
add
yeah,
something,
go
since
ahead.
you asked, like, I think that comment on how fast it can go, we should add on how impossible it is to recover. We have to be very smart and attentive to the talk on transitional minerals and green energy and how the world will go from fossil fuel to renewable energies, because the mining sector is taking advantage of that as an opportunity, a market opportunity to sell themselves as renewable. Mining is not renewable energy. Not only they can finish, but while it is, the companies are operating, as you just said, like we can lose the entire Xingu River if Belusan installs themselves, or we can also lose a lot of Tapajós because to mine, even if it's not illegal, that is the process right now, because there are a lot of mining companies say, so let's get all it legal. And so it
Hmm.
will not be a problem. But then all the chemicals will be left in the river, and they will need hydro dams and dams, hydroelectric, to generate power to that. So we need to be conscious of not exchange one problem with another one, that some regions will never and ever be
Right,
recuperated, restored, such as some states in Brazil where the dams had collapsed.
right.
So thank you for bringing
That's
that. It's very fast.
that's a really important point. I think a lot of people are used to the modern. A lot of people watching this are used to the modern North American forests, which are not old growth. They've been harvested multiple times. They're reseeded. They grow again. But the Amazon is a very different ecosystem. Alex was mentioning those thousand-year-old trees. There's all of these interdependent trees and plants that will not reseed. The topsoil is actually very thin and it will be gone, and nothing can grow there except for soybeans and
And
other industrial crops. And
you can
it's
see it at certain points. There's like walls of the forest, and you see next to it, it's like desert. So
right.
yeah,
It's really and if the forest goes, then the rain and the weather patterns change, and just a self uh, fulfilling nightmare at that point. Um, Thank you guys. I so appreciate you talking to me and to the people who are watching. And I'm going to ask everybody who's watching to just do one thing right now, please. Um, just go to the link in my bio and click on the link and make a donation, and just go through that process for me. It's a small ask, and donate whatever it is that you feel moved to donate. But donate something if you can, please. We're imploring you, as the two guardians of heaven. We feel like it's we have authority to actually require you to do this. So,
Yeah.
so nice to see your faces. Bye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you, Michelle, once again.
Bye.
Oh, hold on.
All right, I'm just going to click